playing every single day these days, and it's what America is seeing through. I mean, they are part of the left-wing party. I mean, they are advocates for the left wing. They won't even ask these candidates the serious questions.
Why do they want to investigate one party so much, and you're not allowed to ask questions about the other party?
Could you imagine, and I wrote an op-ed about this, could you imagine if I got $50,000 a month in an industry that I knew nothing about, right, with no discernible duties from a Ukraine oil and gas company? I mean, could you imagine that? Could you imagine if I got kicked out of the Navy for doing cocaine? Could you imagine if I was caught with a crack pipe or many of the other scandals? Could you imagine if China gave me $1.5 billion, right, after I flew over to China on Air Force Two with my father, meaning assuming my father was vice president?
Yeah.
Could you imagine? I mean, I've lived a totally scandal-free life. I've lived an incredibly clean life, and they go after me, and they go after Don and Ivanka and Barron and Tiffany and our children. For what?
A couple of things. Adam Schiff opened up that show, and he asked questions. He let Adam Schiff go in. He never asked a question. Why did you make up that dialogue in the beginning? He said, why did you not be transparent and say the whistleblower came to your staff? So at the very least, even if you hate the president or love Adam Schiff, you're not doing anyone a service by not asking those questions. The other thing that struck me is that it was Ron Johnson.
Yeah.
I'm used to Jim Jordan having combat, but tell me about Ron Johnson for him to get that exercise.
Listen, I know Ron I know him very well. I campaigned all across, a great state with him on a bus. We were on his bus. We were going around in 2016. And listen, he can be a tough guy. He can be a tough critic. And by the way he was defending my father on Chuck Todd, guys, it's very simple, right? I mean, you can just zoom out and boil this whole thing down. They know they're not going to win in 2020, right? I mean, just yesterday, a couple days ago, it came out 3.5% unemployment, the lowest unemployment in 50 years in this country, arguably the lowest unemployment in the history of our nation, right? They know they can't win. So guess what? They don't
want to talk about that.
Of course
because
they don't.
that's a winner. They want to talk about the other stuff because they feel
Steve,
that your father's in peril.
This whole thing's a clown show. It's a clown show. They know they can't win. They're going to have their opportunity to win in 6 years. They should get very excited. They'll have their opportunity to win in 6 years. They know they can't win. The economy's too good. America's behind my father, right? You finally have patriotism back. You finally have religious liberty back. You finally have our military back and rebuilt. Our economy's booming. Everything the man said he was going to do, he did.
But when
he's driving them crazy.
When you're watching these shows, I'm thinking, oh, he's bringing up a good point. That's a good point. That's a question a lot of people in America have.